Hey there all, it's Paulie Joan from Writer's World and welcome to another Writer's World tips, tricks and planning to pants. Now today I wanted to talk to you about creating your creative space, creating your writing space, that place that will be where you write. And I want to cover three things. So we're going to talk about location, and the environment that you choose to have your writing or creative space in. We're going to talk about anchoring writing into your space, and we're also going to talk about what to do when you're traveling. Now, I am doing this video today from somewhere where I'm traveling. This is not where I live. I've been here for 2 days, so I've needed to really be aware of the space and find where I have my creative space here. So this is what's prompted me to share this with you today. And so let's go through those 3 points. Now, let's start with location and environment. Pretty awesome location and environment that I've got here for myself. Doesn't work for everyone though. For me, getting close to nature is a very creative experience. And for me, writing in the morning is my best time. So sitting out here, you can't see it. There's a mob of kangaroos over there that are out every morning. There's a horse over in the back there. So for me, waking up to have this kind of environment, being in nature and writing first thing in the morning, is a very creative and natural flow space for me. So one of the things to consider when you're looking at what your writing space would be or your creative space will be is what inspires you. So for me, I'm very inspired by nature. I'm very inspired when I wake up in the morning. So think about it. For you, what is it? Is it like me for nature? Is it maybe being in an office? Do you need to actually have a kind of more enclosed space or an open space like I have here? I'm very inspired by openness. Do you need to have a lot of things around you? Do you need a lot of books near you? Do you need do you need noise? Do you need quiet? For me, I like a bit of noise. The noise of nature is actually quite inspiring for me. But I know a lot of people need complete silence. Do you need music? What is it that you need? Bring that into your environment and into your location. So when you're thinking about where to do your writing, consider these things. Now, next thing I want to talk about is anchoring. Now, what anchoring is creating a space where you only do one thing. It is your creative space. Now, what I mean by that is if you have an office and you work from that office space, what you want to do is use either a different part of your office for your creative writing, or maybe even just a different chair, because you've already anchored everything that you do around work into that space. When you sit in a space, your body and your mind is remembering everything that you've experienced in that space. So if you've had a negative experience of I can't or procrastination or anything problematic, you're going to bring that into your writing. Don't do that. And Disney actually uses this, or used this himself. So Walt Disney used this, and Disney was actually set up with this process whereby spaces were anchored. They had, like, I can't remember the actual terminology, but they have, for example, a dream room where only ideas are created. And the rule was the anchoring was in that space. You're only allowed to bring new ideas. There's no analysis, there's no breakdown, it's just new ideas. Then they take those new ideas and go into a different space. And in that space, that's when they start to analyze it and think about it and break it apart. So actually anchored all the different components of thought process and creativity into these different spaces. So I recommend that you do that as well. So when you're working out or deciding on your creative space and your writing space, have a space that is just for writing and anchor that in. Say before you sit down, when I sit in this chair, creativity is going to flow, ideas are going to flow, my story is going to flow, my characters are going to just tell me the story and it's just going to fall out. anchor yourself into that space. If you sit in that space and have any negativity of I can't, get the hell out of the space. Maybe anchor a different thing. And it could be as simple as anchoring a different chair. So you want a space where your body only has the experience of creativity and flow. Okay, that's what you want to bring to it. So, for example, for me, this whole area that I'm in right now is anchored for creativity. So I'm doing writing. From this chair, I'm doing videos. There's another chair over there that I do writing. So I've separated those two, but everything here is about creativity. So the third thing that I want to cover is traveling, because I'm doing a lot of traveling at the moment. I'm doing house and pet sitting, and I'm traveling around Australia writing, which means that every house I go into, I need to redo this process of working out my creative space. I need to look at the location and the environment, and I need to anchor the creativity in. So I've got my daily rituals, but as soon as I get to a new sit, one of the first things I do is go, okay, where am I going to anchor creativity for this space? And I will go into my rituals the very next day, or that day, depending on what time I get there, and I'll go straight into that space with the mindset of this is my creative space, and it will stay in that space the whole time. So I just went and did a visit with the next sit that I'm going to be doing, and it's very, very different. I don't have this kind of environment. It's a little cottage, really, really cute actually, a little cottage, and it's much smaller. It's like one bedroom and a lounge room and a little kitchen, but I already have seen the space outside where there's a little table and chairs where I'm going to do my writing. I've already seen where I'm going to anchor my creativity into that. So I've actually already, neurolinguistically, I've already anchored that space. So when I get there, I'll be ready to go straight into it. So if you're traveling, and I've done this even with places where I've stayed one night, like when I've done hotels, Airbnb or whatnot, find your space, find a space that's away from everything else, all your other thought processes, make that your creative space and do your thing. So in your regular environment, have a creative space that you've anchored. And when you're traveling, find that space. Don't let your rituals go just because you're traveling. Yeah, find your creative space. Awesome. So let me just recap on that. First thing to consider is your location, your setting, and your environment. Second thing to consider is anchoring into a creative space, whether it be a location, a chair, a room, whatever it needs to be. It could even be like, something that you hold. Just anchor something and know that. Tell yourself, okay, for example, if you're holding something, when I hold this, I'm in a creative flow space. Anchor it in, okay? And the other thing is when you're traveling, so don't let your rituals go. Make sure that you suss it out and you find your creative space and you go into it, and it is only for creativity. So that was the 3 things that I wanted to cover today in regard to your creative and writing space. I trust that it has helped. This is Paulie Joan from Writer's World. And remember, until next time, plan to pants.